Hello and welcome to my channel, Making Crafts. Today I am working with the Summer Bloom Collection digital kit, and this is a collaboration between Line Dot Arrow and Rach and Bella Crafts, and I will link to both stores so you can find the kits. And this kit is huge. I've got two different sets of papers. One was designed by Rach and Bella Crafts and the other by Line Dot Arrow, and so it really is a large kit. There are lots of embellishments, lots of pockets, and plenty of sheets of paper for the journal itself. And there's, as you can see, there's so many embellishments and so many different things in this kit. It's a very pretty kit, and it's all flowers and summer blooms. So to get started, I am using some of my embossing folders to emboss some of the embellishments in the kit. And so today I'm just going to show you how to take a digital kit and make it your own and embellish that digital kit to add more to it. And here you can see I've used that honeycomb hexagon sort of shaped plate, embossing folder, excuse me, the embossing folder, and I've used it on the pocket as well, and I really love the looks of it on these. And then this is more of a very decorative, scrolly style. I don't know the name of this embossing folder. It's one of these that I used on this envelope, and then I've used it on this envelope as well. And then on this envelope from the kit, I just embossed the flap, and then I embossed the whole envelope of this larger one from the kit. So now what I'm going to do is I want to highlight the embossing. First, I'm going to use chocolate chip from Stampin' Up to grunge up all the edges of this kit. And then I'm also using the metallic wax from Little Birdie, and this is antique gold. And I'm just going to use this antique gold to highlight the embossing on the envelope. And so I think this really brings out the embossing and really adds something to these envelopes. I think that it makes it even more pretty. You know, these are beautiful envelopes and a beautiful kit. So I like to decorate the kit up. Rather than take a digital kit and use it as is, I like to make it my own and add some things to it. And so this was one way that I could add some decorations to this kit. And so I thought the gold highlights is really pretty on this kit, because there is some gold colors in some of the envelopes. As you can see, the one on the left here it has some gold in it. And this gold that I'm using is an antique gold, so it's not real shiny and brassy like. It's more of a aged gold look, and I just like that. I think that works good with the chocolate chip that I'm using, and then that I'm using for this kit. So I've just added a little bit too much gold here. I had too much on my finger and I pressed too hard. You have to press really lightly or that's what happens. So I'm just going to keep working with it. I'm not going to do away with this envelope. I think that I can make it look better by just keep working with it and see if I can smooth some of it out. I mean, that's how crafting is. Sometimes we have boo-boos, sometimes we make mistakes, but the fun part is trying to fix a mistake and save this little envelope. So if I keep adding more gold to it, I think that it will improve it. But that's how the antique wax is. You got to be very careful. If you don't lightly put it on there, then you run into the problem of it gobbing up in one spot. And so that's what's happened there. But I'm keeping in mind that I will be folding this up too, so you won't be able to see this whole pattern together. So I'm just going to try to ink it and see if that will help to kind of blend all the colors, because I do have a lot of stark white around the edges, which is making that gold, that one little splotch, kind of make the whole little area kind of look splotchy. So I'm just going to use some of my chocolate chip, and then I will see what I can do to smooth out the gold. And I think by adding more gold in darker spots like that, I can kind of make it all look like I tried for it to be that way. So I'm just going to take a paper towel and let the paper towel work it some. Since with my finger I did mess it up just a little bit, so I'm just going to take this paper towel and just see if I can blend the color more and see if I can get everything looking a little bit smoother instead of so blotchy. And I think that's helping. I think that the paper towel did help blend it some, but I do think that I'm going to have to add some gold to the edges because they are so white around the edges. But I'm not covering up if you notice, I'm not adding gold to any of my flowers on this one. I'm trying to just kind of highlight around the flowers and leave like a white, not really a shadow since it is white, but leave the white around each flower to kind of highlight the flowers still. So I think it looks better once I add the gold to the edges. This stuff does get on your mat, and I try to clean it off as soon as it gets on my mat, because if you don't, I'm always afraid it'll dry and I won't be able to get it off. But it did come off easily, so I have gotten it on my table and stuff before, and it is really hard to get off. So I think this turned out fine, even though I had the little boo-boo of accidentally rubbing too much gold in one spot. Once I fold it up and fold it into an envelope, I think that it looks really good. I think it all blended just fine. And I am going to add some decoration, I think, to the bottom left corner, so I think that will help it all blend as well. But I do like adding the gold to this because I do like highlighting the embossing. It makes the embossing stand out so much better. Okay, so for this one, there is a lot of color on this envelope already. So there's a lot going on with this envelope since I did emboss it, and then you've got all the color that's already in this one. But I still wanted to emboss it just to add some texture to the envelope, and I am going to still highlight the embossing with the gold, but it's not going to have the same effect that the others did, I don't think. I think that it's more muted, but it's still, I think it still looks good. And so it just brings out the gold and kind of blends in the gold that's already on the envelope. And so you can see here it's highlighting it. And it does make the embossing stand out a bit more. You can see the texture of the embossing a bit more. It's hard to really see it and see if you're really making a difference with it when you've got this much color on the envelope already. When I turn it over, I can really see a big difference. I see where the colors were a lot lighter, and so adding the gold does make a difference. And I do like how this looks. And I prefer just using my finger to add it on. It does stain your finger a little bit, but you can wash it off. You just have to scrub a little bit harder, but I prefer using my finger because I can kind of really tell where I'm getting it. I guess you could use a sponge. I've never tried it. So this one's got a little tear. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover the back of this one with a book page. What happened with this one was I run it through my Big Shot, and I had it on the wrong setting. This was the first envelope I ran through. And you know, you have the plates and you have the different layers that you can raise up so that you can layer pieces on it for different thicknesses. And so for this one, I did not set to the right layer. And so what I realized was after I did this one that I needed to use the thinnest setting to emboss these. And so you'll see this one's quite deep embossing, and I think that's because I did use the wrong setting. And so when you deep emboss when you emboss with these embossing folders, if you have it too tight, it does weaken the paper. So, which I was no big deal because I think this will look good on the inside of the envelope anyway. But it is something to keep in mind when you are using your embossing folders. And I'm using 32-pound copy paper, not copy paper, excuse me, HP premium paper. So it's a little bit thicker than copy paper. So I'm not really sure. I've never embossed copy paper. It may weaken it too much. But with this paper, it did fine on the right setting. It's just that I gotta be sure that I don't run it through too tight. So but the paper glued onto the back will really hold this together, and I don't think it's going to tear anymore. And it kind of gives it a decorative inside as well, so no problems. Does have so much texture on it. I am using my bone folder to make sure all the paper grabs hold. And this could have been backed with some paper from the kit, but this was some of the book pages that I'm using in the kit as well, in the journal as well, so I figured it would look good just to add a book page, and I wouldn't use up any of the sheets from my kit. And I love how this one turned out. I love how the gold highlights the embossing and it just shows up. And I think it shows up better in person than it does on camera. I think these look a lot better in person than on camera. And so for the last one, I have embossed the whole entire envelope, but this one I did on the lowest setting, so it seems to be sturdy enough. I don't need to line it. And for it, I'm going to, I think I'm just going to highlight around the lighter colors, and I'm just going to leave the dark green leaves on the left-hand side, and that darker flower, I'm not going to add the gold to it, but I'm going to add the gold around the rest of the page. And I really like how this one's turning out, how you can see the different textures on the envelopes, or on the envelope itself, the different embossing. So I think that looks good, just leaving the flowers on the left-hand side untouched and just coloring in the rest with the gold. And it isn't, there's no rhyme or reason to how you should do this. It's just whatever you want to do for each one. If you're doing this, you can add the gold. You could just add the gold in one spot on the envelope, or you could add it all over the whole envelope. It really doesn't matter. I kind of just varied it. I'm varying it per envelope because I just wanted to try something different on each one. Okay, so my camera stopped filming and I didn't realize it. So I have now moved on to some of the pockets, and this is one that I embossed with the honeycomb hexagon embossing folder. And so for this one, I'm not going to add gold. I am just taking the chocolate chip and the sponge, and I am just lightly, very, very lightly rubbing over it just to highlight the hexagons. And then I'm going to do the gold for this heart, because this heart has the honeycomb bee, like the honeycomb for bees, or the hexagons, I'm not sure which one you call it. And I'm just going to highlight the light areas so that you can see the embossing. And I think it really looked good on this heart and made it stand out. And these hearts are part of the kit. Like I said, there are so many embellishments in this kit. And so I'm just trying to show you how you can make these embellishments your own. And this is another heart from the kit. And I keep accidentally wanting to stick my finger in the ink instead of the gold. So then with this one, you have the gold onto the embossing. I think that looks good. So that really made it stand out as well. I like that. And as you can tell, I'm very gently adding it so that I don't mess up and add too much gold in one spot. I just really want to lightly highlight the embossing on these hearts. And then here's another heart from the kit. And this one already has some of the browns in the background, so the gold's not going to show up as much on it, but it still does highlight the embossing just a little bit more. Here's a close-up. So now I'm going to be working with the tags that come in the kit, and they can be left together. You can cut them apart if you wanted separate tags, but you can also leave them together because they are up against each other so that you can use them as a tri-fold. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to back them. Once again, I printed the whole kit on 32-pound HP premium paper, so it is thinner. So I'm just going to back it with some ivory cardstock. And some of the items in the kit I'm going to back with ivory cardstock, and then other items I'll be backing with tea stain paper. But I wanted for these tags, I wanted them to be pretty sturdy since they're going to fold in and out in my journal. So I'm just going to back them with some ivory cardstock. So now that I have them backed, I'm going to score down each line. And you have, with this ivory cardstock, it was really thick, so I'm scoring really hard so that I'm certain to get the score line into the right spot. And so I just have to press really hard since it is so thick. And so I'm just lining it up with a score line for each one. And I think this makes it easier to fold, and it also makes it a smoother fold when I do fold it. And so now I've got to decide which direction do I want this one to fold out in my book. So I changed my mind. I think I want it to go this direction. But I realized I want the top one, the one on the left, to be my top one, I think. So I'm going to fold it so that it is the one on top that you will see when you first turn to the page that it's attached to. And then I'm just going to use my chocolate chip and just ink around the whole entire set of tags. And then I'm just going to embellish it, and I am just wanting to show you how I embellished it using the pieces from the kit. And so all of these pieces came from the kit, except for the butterfly. The butterfly is from Tim Holtz, but or if that's a butterfly or moth, I really couldn't tell. But it's from Tim Holtz, and the rest of the items are from the kit. And there are so many embellishments in this kit that you really don't have to pull in a lot to embellish it. And even these little bitty cards were in the kit, so I thought they would be cute to put in a tiny have a tiny pocket with tiny little journaling cards. And of course, I don't think you could journal much on them, but I don't know, maybe you could write one word on them or something. And so I really like how this trifold tag comes together with all these pieces from the kit. And I love all the colors in this kit, the summer blooms and all. And I love that it's got different flowers. It's got sunflowers, but then it's got blue flowers, and it's got pink flowers. And so it has a large collection of flowers so that you're not stuck just decorating with one flower. Which, don't get me wrong, I love doing like a rose journal or a sunflower journal. But it is fun to have journals where it's just a variety of flowers in it. And so this is going, I just put glue on 3 sides of this, and this is going to be my little bitty pocket that I'm putting the little bitty cards in. And then this heart is one from the kit. And I'm just gluing this heart on down the middle because I want it to fold upwards. I don't want it to be totally flat when I get done. So that way if I just glue it down the middle, it still will stay good and tight, but it will move a little bit. And all these little words and sayings is from the kit as well, and I thought that was nice to have these different sayings to put on the pages and on the tags and things. And I love how this turned out. I love the little bitty cards, journaling cards in the little bitty pockets. And so this is the other trifold tags that's in the kit, and they're a little larger, a little taller. And so all the embellishments on that I'm using for these right now are from the kit. So I'm going to make this yellow flower here a pocket. And then the rest, and then in the middle, I'm kind of decorating it sort of the same, but adding a few different things. So the yellow pocket, the yellow flower is going to be a pocket, and this is kind of like the pocket on the other page, just with different sayings. But I'm going to back it with a little piece of ivory paper. And I think that's going to help it stand out some. Especially when I ink it with the chocolate chip, this ivory really stands out. I love how the edges look inked with the chocolate chip. And so this one's going to be another small pocket, and there's more cards, little bitty journaling cards in the kit that you can use as embellishment. I don't think they were intended to be mini journaling cards, but instead of an embellishment, I decided to use them as itty bitty journaling cards to put in a pocket. I think it's neat to have different little things like it, little surprises when you are flipping through a journal. And then whoever receives the journal could take those little cards out, and they could use it as embellishments on pages, and they could embellish more pages and, you know, use them somewhere in the journal. So anything loose like that can always be used in the journal. And so I have went ahead and backed Make Today Beautiful with a piece of jean material, and I just tore down a piece of jean material to be just a little bit larger than the wording, and then I just glued the wording with Fabri-Tac to the jean material, and I thought that added a little bit more texture to the tags. And then this is my sticker book, the Botanist Sticker Anthology, and so I've had this for several months and just never used it, and I remember that I had it and that it's full of flowers, and so I thought this would be good to add to this tag. So I'm just going to add a little flower to the bottom of this one, and then I'm going to add just a little butterfly to the tag as well. And both of these came from this book. There are so many stickers in this book and so many beautiful flowers and bugs in it. It's a really neat book. I need to use it more often. And so since the background is white, I did take a little bit and sponge over to dull out the white on the stickers. And I think it goes better with the tag, not being so bright white. And I'm just going to leave this bingo card as a journaling card that sticks in the pocket of the flower. So I'm just going to back it with a scrap piece of ivory paper, ivory cardstock, so that it can be written on. And I really love how this turned out. And I did add a tag to the side of it so you can pull it out when it's in the book. And I didn't add the tag to the other one, so I'm going to add a tag to this one as well. And the tags were made using Tim Holtz paper, and then just my little tab punch, like I always do. And I love this tab punch. I think it's one of my most favorite purchases I've made this year. For some reason, I just love making tabs, and I love adding tabs to things. I'm not really sure what it is about it, but I love using this little punch and doing this. And the Tim Holtz paper looks really good with this kit as well. The colors looked really well, worked really well with it. So here is a journaling card from the kit, or an embellishment for the kit, for the pages. But what I decided to do is use it as a pocket because my journal is going to be a little bit smaller than you normally have. I'm cutting my pages down. So what I'm doing is I am just using some Fabri-Tac, and I'm going to attach this card, this little journaling card, to a piece of canvas. And so I buy canvas by the yard, and I like to use it in my crafting, so I thought it looked so pretty on the canvas. It seemed like the colors went so well together. And I'm going to sew around a lot of these embellishments, but I'm going to wait until I get most of them made up, and then I'll just take a day and just sew around all the ones that need sewing. So this is the last project I'm going to work on today using the kit. And I hope that you learned something new or enjoyed watching me work with this kit. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And have a nice day. Bye.